So that song was called Take 5 by Dave Brubeck, and I picked that one because there's 5 leadership lessons that we're going to teach you guys. I know, it's pretty obvious, right? So we're going to start out talking about leading without leading, creating a culture that's ripe for collaboration, leveraging strengths and allowing for authenticity, and authenticity is one of our peak values, so that's really important to me personally. Making space for new ideas and innovation, and then something that all of us could learn from, which is like how to recover from mistakes and how to have productive team conflict. So one of the things that's really fundamental when you start an ensemble is having trust. And this is something that you need to have with any of your groups, any of your organizations that you're going to lead. You have to form trust by understanding and respecting what talent people bring to the table, open yourself up to listening, and build on others' ideas. You also have to take risks knowing that your teammates are in it with you, and that's where the trust comes in. And it's about giving yourself over to the team as a priority and leaving your ego and yourself as secondary. So in jazz, there's sort of a perception, I think, that improvisation just happens totally randomly. And that's really probably isn't more from the truth. It's a complex system. It requires a lot of foundation of study, really relentless pursuit of growth, and a lot of inventive sort of practice. And that's a great foundation to establish personal connection, display your own vulnerability, and then create that true team trust. John's going to talk a little bit about that.
So I think I have an interesting perspective coming to this group because although I've now been playing in some capacity with the group for 15 years, I'm still the newest member in the band. This band has been around since 1986, and the 3 original members are the rhythm section, Gordon, Tim, and Mel. Yeah, you should give them a hand. So when I started listening to the band, the OLCC was a little more strict in Portland and in Oregon than it is now. And there were really very few places that minors could go listen to jazz. So I would go and hang out outside of the old Jimmy Mac's, the old Jimmy Mac's. And I would, try to look in the windows, and then there was this little back hallway that you could get in, and I would go in that back hallway and I would listen to the band. And the weird thing about just listening to the band is you can't see anything going on. I got to see the band the first time, and what you see is really different. You see all this leadership stuff going on that you wouldn't otherwise recognize. For example, the band has hand signals that they do to tell the other members what song is coming next because, as Jen mentioned, there aren't any set lists. So now I had this totally new experience of seeing everyone for the first time. Fast forward years later, I became musical director of the band, and what that means is that I get to do what's called call the songs. And that means that, again, we don't have a set list, so on stage, I get to decide what song we're playing next. But it's not really solely my role, because the other band members might have input. So Stan might say, hey, John, in this set, I'd really love to play this song. It would be great to play that. And I'll say, okay, well, I need to work that in. Or Gordon might say, I've brought in a new tune and I want to do that. So this leadership role that I have is interesting because I get to make the decisions, sort of, but I'm definitely taking input from all the members in the band, plus Mel, who takes this role as a leader from, interestingly, behind the band. Most of the time you don't see a leader sitting behind the band, but we're all constantly trying to decide exactly what Mel wants and how to best serve the purposes of the band and the audience.
So normally in a performance, you wouldn't see them talking through what they're trying to do, right? We wanted to give you a little window into what that rehearsal would look like, and then also show what it looks like when it actually comes together in a performance. And so you can see the suggestions, what's happening, and then kind of how it comes together. And also, if you watch, you can see the communication that's happening as they play.
We do a lot of talking on the stage. And as John mentioned, we got a lot of hand signals. It's almost like we're baseball catchers. You know, you got something happening with the pitcher. You know, so we do a lot of talking, but you might not know it.
So probably like the worst kept secret is like, I had no idea what was just gonna happen here. Like we had a rough sketch. And that's what happens, right? We were like, they just go, and it's amazing, right? So what you heard between these two songs was sort of seeing each member of the band being able to showcase their own strengths and have, an opportunity to shine, which is another great lesson that you can take into your own teams, right? Give everybody a chance to bring their ideas forward and to use the diversity of experience, the skills, their own unique ear that they have to expand what's possible. Because they're pushing each other to innovate and try new things,